how's this pandemic kind of influenced you in the media, from what a regular season would look like from your point of view
What a good thing about me, fellas, is me being able to travel throughout the season, of going to work on Sundays, and then being able to go to the Monday night venue wherever it is throughout the country. So with this pandemic, being able to stall a few plans, I've been able to be just at a remote location with Sunday and Monday countdown, man. So it's actually been a blessing in disguise from the standpoint of, traveling safely, keeping your mask on, being able to not be able to be on a plane for, 4 or 5 hours, needing to take the mask off for a drink or something to eat. So like I say, man, I mean, the show must go on, but like I say, it's been a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. Well, shoot. Okay. Speaking of the pandemic, if you was playing right in today's, let's say it was 2001, right? Pandemic hits and Denny Green's like, hey, you go opt out, Moss, and you go play. What would you have done during the pandemic if it would have hit when you was playing?
Well, to be honest with you, Hatch, I would really have to be a little bit more educated on this corona, the COVID-19, because one thing that I'll say, and I'm talking, just from a past player to player, the players that opted out, I think their decisions that they made was, a family decision. It didn't really have to be, it wasn't really based on them as the individual. And now that they sit back, week 9, week 10, and seeing that the guys are still playing, they're still going out there to compete, their teammates, their brothers are having fun. It's kind of like some guys maybe wish they would have, sit there and reevaluated the process. But I think for me, it would have to be for me to be a little bit more educated up on the COVID for me to be able to make a hard decision like it. I mean, you love the game. T.O., I know you love the game. I love the game. So for us to be able to make, or me to make a decision like that, man, that'll be a hard decision to make. But like I said, I would have to be educated and be brought up to speed about the pros and cons of the COVID.
Yeah. So in 1998, of course, you were the first round pick of the Minnesota Vikings, right? But let's take it back a little bit further. So that would be your decision if you was in the league. But what if you was go be that first rounder coming out of college? Would you had played that third year in college, or would you had also sat that out in order to get ready for the NFL draft?
I mean, Hatch, when you look at, where I'm from, man, and kind of like the football was kind of like the only way out, man. So the love that I have for the game, man, I'm very passionate about the game. And for you to just tell me that my brothers are out there playing ball and I got to make a decision if I want to play or not, that's a hard decision to make.
Right.
Man. So like I said, it's just more of being brought up to speed. And I understand why some of the guys, opted out, because, a lot of guys in there starting families, maybe at a young age, and just being able to see their loved ones not go through what they've seen on social media or what they've seen on the news. So I understand the opt out by players, but for me as an individual, you asking me the question, Hatch, it would be very hard for me to sit down and not play, knowing that my other brothers are out there on the field playing and I'm not. That'd be hard for me.
Yeah. I think in the last couple of months, I think sports has looked good from a visual point of view. Again, NBA, the whole playoffs went through without, really any hitches in big games, didn't lose any star players. It looks like when you sit back and watch an NFL game, it looks like a regular game because you have the crowd noise, you can see it. But again, so going into this playoff run, right? Do you think that, again, does anybody have a disadvantage or advantage during this whole COVID scenario right now?
When you look at this season and, it's kind of like you take it back to when we played, guys, where you think about some of the most hostile stadiums that you played in. You think about Kansas City,
Green Bay,
New Orleans. You think about when that crowd get loud and you can barely hear, basically just looking at the quarterback and the ball being snapped. Those guys don't have that advantage. So I think that if you're talking, the only advantage that I see for this year's playoff is the first round bye. I don't really see a team, being able to win their division to say they got a home game. That's not no edge. That's not no advantage. I think that some of the stadiums you may go to that they are going to have some fans. And like I said, those are the fans that, you rely on the fans. Just think how many times we're on the sideline waving that white towel or pumping our fist and waving our hands in the air to try to get the crowd hyped up for our defense. So like I said, some teams don't have that. And that the fans or the people on the outside looking in don't really look at that as using that as a tool. But having your crowd behind you is a tool to have. And this year, some teams don't have that.
Yeah. I think what you're alluding to, especially if you look at the blueprint of what the NBA did there in the bubble, you think about there was really no advantage. You had home teams, they changed the floors, but they changed the home team's floor. And there was really no home court, no home field advantage. And so you think about football, and now we're like past midseason. Can you give us a sense, because like you said, you guys have been limited with travel, a lot of the commentators and what have you. Can you give us a sense in the everybody that's listening of what it's like in the stadium? Because, obviously, I think from the beginning of the season now to like midway, I think they have started to kind of pump some crowd noise in there to kind of help with the audio part and just from a optic standpoint. When fans are obviously watching the game and they're not in the stadium, can you give us a sense of what it's like in the stadium with it not being full to capacity?
Well, let's take it to our position, fellas. Let's just take it strictly to our position. If we're out there at wide receiver, and I don't care where you are on the field, just say we're out in the field and when we're on the road, and that crowd gets loud. That means if we're in a 2-minute drill, a hurry up situation, I call them gang signs, but the sign language, sign language, all that. So with all that we were used to or accustomed to, with having the crowd noise in there, you either got to look at the ball or you have to get the signal from the quarterback. Now that you don't have that crowd noise, or the crowd noise is limited in there, man, the quarterback can just look out there and yell, "Hey, run a bang eight!"
Right?
Not as simple, as simple as running a bang eight, but just say the play is called Charlie. For him to just look out there and yell at you, Charlie. Okay, you know what Charlie is. Let's rock and roll. Where if that crowd noise was out there, you would have to either get the signal from his hands or you'd have to lip read Charlie. So, I think that is one advantage that a lot of offenses are not used to having. And now that they can communicate out there on the field, that helps a team play a little faster, get the play calling in, go up to the line of scrimmage, yell the play out to the right, yell the play out to the left. So I think the communication it has an advantage to the offense, knowing that you don't have that crowd noise.